You know, if you know who Dan Bilzerian is, some guy on social media, I guess. He's not just some guy, he's a real person. But yeah, and Mike Tyson and Floyd, then you probably have maybe heard them talk. If you've ever listened to them talking, then you would have heard that they're constantly mentioning how going after money and power and social status was meant nothing to them anymore. They don't even barely want it. And I think a lot of people think that, a lot of us might think that if I was in that position, I would enjoy it. These people are stupid. They're just rich and they've had it too long. They're super comfortable. Something is wrong with them. If I had that, I would find a way to really enjoy it. I would, if I was married to that girl, I would be with her every night for the rest of my life. Shoo, every night, every second. I would just kiss her feet. If I had that mansion, I would never sell it. I would live in it and never buy another bigger one. There's a lot of us sometimes we get to think like this, like it's their fault that they don't like it. But studies show even people who win lottery, like we have data, actual data from studies that like people just ask people, hey, how do you feel? You know, or just check on how they're doing, like financially, or do like houses or whatever they have. They just like do a little research, and the studies show that people that win the lottery, a few years later, 5 years I think, they're worse off than the day they won it before. Like, so this isn't just like some people that this happens to. This is for most people. Now, some people are able to find something to do with that money, but it doesn't mean that they have it figured out. Like, there is something addictive, like a drug, about these experiences. So people, when they do them, it's kind of has a momentum to it that makes us keep wanting to do it. Like once you do this once you have a big house, you keep thinking big house, big house, big house, and then you look and you're like, it could be bigger, big house, bigger house, and then bigger house comes and you're thinking big house, bigger house, bigger house. Oh, this is bigger than the last one. Bigger house. Yeah, I have to have more houses. Yeah, and then it's like more houses, and it's all this shit. It keeps just going. Because it's not fulfilling when we just have this stuff. This stuff isn't where we find our true fulfillment. There is something to being miserable from being poor, but poverty is not the same as being rich. Having someone you love isn't the same as being married to some fictional person that you think is like gonna come out of somewhere, that you have in your mind, that you've been fantasizing about, like some famous actor or someone that you've known for a long time. We think, oh my god, if I could just marry this one person I read about or saw in this movie or about her life, then I would be like so happy. She's the perfect person. And maybe some people are cool, but there's no one that you will just marry as you are and or be with, and then that's it. The whole thing is done. It's a work. The whole thing is, especially when you find the person that is really right for you, because they're gonna inspire you to be your best self. So that's gonna require a lot of change over years for you to really come forth out of that relationship. And because that relationship will transform you in itself. That's why we want it. We want those things because they will change us. But someone you love for real isn't the same as wanting to be with some fictional person or with like a number of people. Like, oh, I just want to be with 100 girls or 1,000 girls at the same time, even like something crazy. Or I just want to have the richest guy or the tallest guy or the something guy, something like that. Those things, it doesn't mean anything to us. What we really are fulfilled by is not these things that culture is advertising to us. It is not the big house and the shiny stuff, the necklaces and the watches and the cars and all this stuff. I'm gonna play some clips of people maybe at the end of this video, or as well, so you can see someone doing that and just look at their face. If you've seen my video on reading people's faces, you'll totally understand what I'm saying. When you watch the video, don't look at anything else, just look at what he's feeling. Look at this guy. And yeah, so the next thing is about how is it possible for us to be actually happy then, if money doesn't do it, and if fictional people don't do it, and if the relationships of our dreams are a work and social status means nothing. Well, actually the thing that really fulfills us is the stuff that are very simple and readily available. Really great diet that not just is good for you, like some idea of a diet, like, oh, I have to eat vegetables, or I have to eat only fats, or only carbs, or only something. No, it's about actually food that your body loves in experience. Like, you eat it and you're like, I feel fucking great. Energy, my body feels good, I feel light. I don't feel like, oh my god, I died, I need to like die. Or I feel like I'm getting sick all the time, or I can't sleep or wake up properly. No, actually feels super good and is very delicious. Like, it feels good from start to finish. It's not just good here, or good in my mouth, or good comes out of my ass, like good digestion. No, good the whole way through. And when we have food that is really good the whole way through, that is part of it. There are these basic stuff that we need to have, and some of them are having a person there, or having sex with somebody. But it doesn't mean that the idea of it in our head has to be like this crazy thing. Like, we only need a little bit. There's this weird phenomenon that happens to people. It's like a bias or a chemistry buildup of some kind, where when we're super thirsty, like we haven't had water or any drink for many hours, and we're just like, holy shit, or even days, it starts to fucking go like, I'm gonna drink so much water. I am gonna fucking drink a river if I see it. I'm gonna drink the whole well of water, pull it out and suck it with something. I'm gonna open the tap and sit under it for 50 days. But in the end, when we go actually drink, we don't do that. We just drink a cup of water and that's it. But the same thing happens with hunger, or these different things. I think that when you're hungry, you're like, oh my god, super hungry. You haven't eaten soup, or the most hungry you've ever been. Like, oh, like you can't even be, not even like more than that. We start thinking like fucking, I want to eat buffets of food, feasts of all of my favorite meals and desserts and appetizers and everything. I want to eat like a whole table full of food just by myself or something like that. But when we go eat, we don't do that. We just eat a little bit, especially when we haven't had so long. We're like, oh my god, that's it. I'm fucking done. And that's true for sex also. And maybe having some social recognition and status and like people approval and attention and stuff like that. When we don't have any, when we feel neglected, when we feel like, oh, this is such a big need that I feel all the time, consciously and unconsciously, you just can't help it, then the whole gravity is towards, I need so much of it, I need to like overfill myself. That's what we start thinking. But when we start to do it, we burn out so fast because that's not actually what we want. It's just something we need for, you know, a certain amount of. But it is not the ultimate thing, you know? You can't just eat yourself into completion of life. Life is complicated. You can't just do one thing, get rich or get a PhD or get a job or get people to call you something, some award, get an Oscar or complete a goal. Life is not just a goal, like a psychological idea of a goal. Life is like what we're living right now. These moments, what you wake up thinking and doing and feeling every second of the whole day. And sleep and eat and meet people and talking, and this is your life. It's made of moments. It's not made of words. And what also fulfills us, other than relationships and food, is breathing amazing air. Like breathing, like all these breathing exercises. If you've ever heard of Wim Hof, or these books that are now talking about breathing and what people have been doing for thousands of years, and animals do instinctively. Like we always do this instinctively when we are getting really a heavy workout. We start because why? Because we need it. It gives us so much energy to do this types of things. It feels good. And when we have sex, when we feel really good, or when we're riding a roller coaster, or when we're driving in a fast car, or when we're meeting someone that we really love, naturally the body, when it's feeling good, it starts to breathe deeper and like more excited. It's not just like fucking like most bored, just like tight chest, just like fucking just like sitting on a bus board with some stupid people kind of feeling. But the whole thing about this is like we have to put these pieces together for it to really work, and it takes time because we're not used to actually being happy. We're not used to eating very good food. It takes time. Happiness is a chemistry. It's peace. It's this whole organism coming into a place of feeling, I'm home. Yes, this is right. This is where I want to be. This is great. Fucking great. That takes time. It doesn't just happen in a second. You're like, oh, I got it. That's it. It's like, even when you do get it and you realize you got it, it still has a build-up. which is the best because it keeps getting better forever. It doesn't have an ending. It's not like this weird thing you get and then that's it. No. Every day it keeps surprising you in the best way that you can't even imagine. That's what my life has been for the last few years at least. And it's a product of all of these things. And another big one is being in nature and connecting with nature through animals and mountains and plants and even smoking and eating mushrooms and marijuana. And some of these ways of connecting with nature are through consumption, through eating it or putting it in your body. Those are, when done right, not for the purpose of pleasure in pursuit of rushes and crazy experiences and just like why, like some crazy fucking party from American movies or something, Hollywood shit. No, but in pursuit of an ideal lifestyle, a beautiful experience, a vacation of sorts, a journey, a hypnosis even, like something like deep like that, and something that is valuable internally. The most important thing about these things is to have a beautiful relationship with them. Food isn't just something you make yourself do. You have to have a relationship with your food. Like, you don't just make yourself do the same thing. No, it's like, sometimes you do this, sometimes you fast, sometimes you eat a lot, sometimes you cheat on your diets, sometimes you don't ever cheat on your diet, you're very strict. You have to have a relationship with it. That's what we do have already, but make it a great relationship, not a mechanical relationship, not an inflexible relationship or a one-dimensional relationship. It's a deep relationship that is always evolving, and you evolve through it. And the same thing with exercise. It's not about hurting ourselves forever. It's about building a relationship with it. You know, when people like David Goggins say stay hard, that's the relationship he has with exercise. Because in his mind, being hard is the most important thing. That's why he keeps saying stay hard. And so to him, exercise is what allows him to have that relationship, fulfill that in himself. And that's the same for a lot of these people. And hurting ourselves, we can hurt ourselves with anything, with food, with sex, with random people that hurt us physically or emotionally or even spiritually. Like, we just feel like, oh my god, I don't know what happened, this person fucked up my soul. Metaphorically and literally, if there is such a thing. Words are not a thing, but you know what I'm saying, the experience of it. And that's possible with food, with work, with exercise, with anything. So it's about having a beautiful relationship. It's about creating a good lifestyle that really fulfills us. That is what happiness comes from. And lifestyle doesn't just mean outside, it means inside, because these are relationships. Relationships means what? Relativity. Something relating to something else. There's a relationship between partners, between two. It's not just you doing this one thing. There is a dance. That's life. Life is a dance with time. Okay, we're getting deep now. Yeah. Don't chase after money. Don't chase after fucking stupid shit that is shiny forever. Get it when you want it, if you really want it, and then realize there's something else. Not just this. Realize there's something else. There is love and health and internal beauty of what the world is. You know, I think physicists and mathematicians arrive at this a lot because their world is free of what most of us get really stuck in, which is the social part of the world and how fucked up we seem to be to ourselves right now, because we're still growing and young and very new to the whole being powerful and conscious thing, kind of. We feel like, oh, it's been so long, but it's really not. We've been here for not that long, realizing that we're here and trying to figure out how to actually do this properly. That has not been a very long time. Thousands of years is nothing. But the real thing is that to have these beautiful relationships, it starts with the relationship with ourselves, because that's the closest thing. And then eventually we end up realizing that the whole thing is ourselves. So that's the ultimate surprise and happiness that you can't understand through words. But if you felt it, then you're like, holy shit. That's union. Which is the fire of relationships, or not fire, the lightning, the sex. I don't know. It's the spark. Yeah, because when we have sex and pregnancy happens, like not pregnancy, the egg meets the sperm. They've shot a video of it in slow-mo and like some fucking weird sciencey shit. And there's literally like a zinc explosion, or not zinc, tin? No. What is that metal? There's like something that like a tiny like metal, like you know how we have iron and stuff in our blood? There's a tiny little reaction when the sperm meets the egg that creates a literal like little spark of lightning almost in that moment. They've captured it on video. You can find it on YouTube. And so it's literally, union is literally like the lightning, the spark of relationship. When you realize that what you're eating is you. It's not just like, oh, I have to eat something. This is me. This is me. This is food. Like, I'm what I eat. If I don't eat, I will become nothing. I will just disappear. But and that's important, and the food feels the same, everything. Anyways, so that's what fulfillment, happiness is about. From my life's experience and everyone that I've listened to that has lived these experiences themselves, that have been really rich enough to feel like, yeah, I'm rich. Don't have to keep going for it. And yeah, the people that keep going for it are just competing with some fucking weirdo. Because they're still so mad that they're not this thing that they're dreaming of. Anyways, just some 4:30 a.m. thoughts for you. It's not a screen thing. That's where me and David were smoking, like, this year. Holy shit, it hasn't even been that long, like a few months. It's 9 months, I guess. I was here in January. That's like the coolest thing that happened to me in this place, I guess. Meeting my best friend.